Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of the Ash Christine Designs podcast. This is a knitting podcast all about my latest finished objects and my works in progress, as well as any fun pattern news or make-alongs or whatever I may get up to. My name is Ash, and anywhere that you can find me online will be linked in the description box below this video, including Instagram and Ravelry, my two most active social media accounts. Today is Saturday, June 24th, and I'm a bit off schedule. I was supposed to release a podcast 2 weeks ago, and I ended up having to skip. Due to some technical difficulties, I wasn't able to get it out, so I'm actually re-recording episode 14 today, but it's all okay. In between the technical difficulties from trying to upload last episode and re-recording it today, I've actually managed to finish a couple of other objects in that time frame, so that's good. But yes, like I said, welcome to episode 14. I hope that you'll grab a project and grab a drink and join me as I take you on a journey of all of my latest knitted objects. There is some fun make-along news at the end of this episode, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. But that brings me to finished objects, of which I have a few. First up, and probably the most notable, is my Stained Glass Rain Kids sweater, version 2. It's so fun. So this is not going to be the final sample. And the reason for that is, I talked to you guys last time I finished one of these forever ago about how when I made the 6 to 12 month size, I knew that the sleeves weren't exactly what I wanted them to be. I wanted to do something kind of creative and like make the pattern really align with the decreases correctly so that the pattern sort of flowed into the decreases. After much trial and tribulation, I have found there's no way to do that. So on one sleeve, I have these 3 lines that kind of go together and then disappear because there's no way to make it look attractive. And then on this sleeve, I have the same kind of thing going on where it's a line that disappears and it's just, there's no way to make it look good. So for that reason, this will not be my final pattern sample. I will need to knit one more of these in the children's size, doing the correct decreases for the sleeves. Underneath the sleeves is actually just going to be stockinette. So once you pick up here and you run your decreases along that line, it's just going to be stockinette. Still striped in the correct color progression, but yeah, that's kind of my thought from now. That's kind of been my thought process lately. So I'm super happy to have this one done, but that does mean that I need to do one more iteration of this. I think that's all I wanted to say about the actual pattern. It is a design by me, if I didn't say that. I don't have an official name for it yet. I'm just calling it the Stained Glass Rain Kids. The yarn is Big Twist Value in a multitude of colorways. The project page will be linked below if you want to check out which specific colorways. The needles I used are US 9 5.5 millimeter, and I started this April 8th and finished May 31st. So not too bad for a children's sweater. Next finished object I have are these 2 little hair ties. I'm gonna put one down and just show you one. So this is the Dogwood Leaf hair tie by Nina Talbot. I think they're so cute. And I'll go ahead and undo one and show you what it looks like. They just look like that. They're little leaves with an I-cord in between connecting them. It's super, super cute, and they're so quick to make. So like I said, this is a pattern by Nina Talbot. It's available, I believe, for free on the KnitPicks website. The yarn I used for this is fingering weight scraps. I just pulled some leftover bits I had out of my stash and used it. The needles I used were the needles called for in the pattern, which were US 2 2.75 millimeter. And I started this project May 29th and finished June 4th. So if you watched my summer knitting plans vlog that I uploaded a while ago, you'll see that these were part of my plans. And I had picked out some other colors as well to make some more, and that's still the plan. I'm still gonna make some more of them. But I made 2, and then I was like, okay, now I'm gonna take a break and work on some bigger items. And eventually, like when I'm between bigger projects, when I finished one and I'm waiting to start the next one or whatever, I'll probably knit up a couple more of these. So yeah, that's those. The next thing I have, I'm counting these as finished objects now because I'm no longer going to show each individual square like as I'm knitting it, but I finished 3 squares from my pintle blanket. And I'll just show them one at a time, just for a couple of seconds. So yeah, 3 of those added to the blanket. And that brings me to my first work in progress, which is my stained glass rain socks, which is being knit up out of Knit Pick Stroll White and a Knit Pick Stroll mini pack. And I don't know how obvious it is here with this lighting, but these are two different colors here. The top one's a red and then it goes into an orange. I think if I hold it like that, the light kind of hits it and you can see a little bit better, but in person it's still difficult to see. I actually put a poll on my Instagram stories a while ago and asked if anybody thought I should rip out the rainbow order and do it a little more contrasty, but everybody voted rainbow orders, so I've kept it. And I'm knitting these on US size 2s, 2.75 millimeter, which is what's called for in the pattern. This is another one of my patterns. It's already available, but I'm knitting it up out of Knit Picks yarn to be hosted on their website as part of one of their pattern showcases at the end of the year, or towards the end of the year. But I have already finished the first sock. I forgot to grab a sock blocker, but I have already finished the first sock. And even here, like, even in the finished sock, it's still hard to tell between the red and the orange, but I think it's cute overall. So yeah, super happy to be working my way through this project. Next project is my ghost beanie. Which is just super fun, very Halloween-y. And this yarn is, the main color is Caron Simply Soft Tweeds in the off-white colorway. And then the two contrasting colors are Caron Simply Soft in the pumpkin and black colorways. I'm knitting these with US size 7 needles or 4.5 millimeter. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that it's turning out. When I first cast this on, I was concerned about how the ghosts were going to turn out because I knit these as socks first, like this specific ghost motif, and I thought it looked really cool in sock form, and then I realized that the way that I was going to knit this beanie, it was going to reverse the ghosts, so they were going to have little smiles instead of little frowns, but I think that just makes them look cuter. So yeah, so this is a pattern that's coming out closer to October. I believe it's slated for September, so I will call for testers for this soon. I just got to work through the last few stockinette rows and then knit the decreases. Next up is my dipped pullover, which is a pattern by the Yarn Inspirations design team. It's just this fun little stockinette baby sweater. The yarn I'm using is Big Twist Classic in the Pastels colorway, and the needles I'm using are US 9 or 5.5 millimeters. And I love the way that the colorway is starting to spiral around the body of the baby sweater. I just think it's so cute. And I believe I'm knitting the 1 to 2 year size. Either way, I think it's turning out super cute, and I can't wait to have it finished. I have about 3.5 or so inches until I'm finished with the stockinette portion of the body, and then I can knit the ribbing and pick up the sleeves. Next up is my Skimmer Sock by Sheila Stromberg. It's this fun little no-show sock, so I finished the toe and I'm now working up the foot. And I actually just started the increases for the gusset. This is a free pattern by Sheila Stromberg. I believe I'm using the Skimmer Socks Revisited by Sheila, so it's like the updated version of the pattern. And this has been on my to knit list forever, so I'm glad that I'm finally doing that. I'm using a size bigger than what's called for in the pattern. I'm using a US 2 or 2.75 millimeter. And I think that US 1 is called in the pattern, but I did a gauge swatch and I met gauge with 2, so that's what I went with. The yarn I'm using is Fido Designs and Fiber Allure Base, which is a 3-ply fingering weight. It's 75% superwash merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% nylon. It's 420 yards in 100 grams, and it's in the colorway Dress God. So that's what their tag looks like. And then that's the yarn information on the back. And I do have some contrasting yarn that I want to use for the heel when it comes time to do that, because I think that it kind of complements the color of the yarn pretty well. So yeah, I think that'll be fun to use as a contrasting heel when it comes time to pop that in. My last work in progress is a brand new cast on. It is this. It's just a ribbed band right now, but this is going to be part of my Halloween costume. There's nothing too exciting to show right now. It's literally just some black ribbing, but this is going to be the Wednesday vest. I'm not following a pattern necessarily. I watched a few YouTube videos about people talking about how they were going to make this. And then I did check out a couple of patterns. I know that there was one by Your Inspirations, or maybe it's Bernat. I know that there were a few. There was one by We Are Knitters, and I like opened them and looked at them. But some of them had like details wrong, and I'm a stickler when it comes to recreations. If it's going to be a recreation, the details need to be right. So I'm just doing kind of like my own thing, and I'll put all of my project notes in the project page. So if anyone out there wants to make their own and they're also like me and they're a stickler when it comes to details, then you can like check out my notes and see what I've done. But yeah, so I'll have that linked in the description box along with all the other project pages. I'm gonna give one more shot at this. I know it's so boring. It's just black ribbing. I know, it's just ribbing, but it's so fun, and I'm having such a blast making this. Okay, I'm gonna stop showing this. So the needles that I used, or I'm currently using, so I'm currently using US 6, which I believe is a 4mm, but the actual body of the vest is going to be knit in US 7 4.5mm needles, and the yarn I'm using is Caron Silky Soft in the black and white colorways. I don't have any white attached yet, but very, very soon I'll be done with the band, and then I'll have white attached. I'm making this project as part of my Summerween make-along, which is a make-along that just kicked off on the 22nd, and it's a make-along dedicated to all things Halloween. So if you have any Halloween projects that you are wanting to make, or some Halloween colorways that you want to use up, please join in on all the fun, either in the Ravelry thread or on Instagram using the hashtag SummerweenMal2023, and I'll pop that on the screen right here. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun. So if you want more details about this, there will be the Ravelry thread linked in the description box, which has all the instructions, all the rules and information and deadlines and stuff written out, as well as a link to the special announcement video that's here on my channel. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I wanted to say about all of my projects this week. I thought, considering it has been a month, that I would have had more to talk about or more to say. But I really don't. I'm just kind of like working on the same projects and, just having fun and doing my thing. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to making some Halloween stuff as part of the Summerween make-along. So that's pretty much it. The only other thing that I wanted to mention was I did start watching a couple of new podcasts recently. I started watching the SabrynKnits, I'm not sure, I can't remember how you pronounce her name, but the SabrynKnits podcast, which is really, really good. It's a knitter that's been knitting for like 4 or 5 months, and I'm just like blown away by everything that she does. Cause she's like making sweaters, and I'm like, at what point would I, like, how long into my journey did I actually make my first sweater? Because I think it was over a year, and she's over here just killing it with sweaters, and I'm like, how? So yeah, so she's somebody that you should check out. She's very, very interesting. And then the other new podcast that I started watching is bymwu. And it's with Mary Ann, and she's such a lovely person, and she's also someone that's been knitting for a short amount of time, and she's like banging out these great projects, and I'm like, how? Honestly, sometimes I'm like, the world where it is right now, like the knitting industry and everything, it really caters to new knitters and opens up the doors to all these possibilities. And sometimes I think like I wasn't that adventurous as a beginner, and then other times I realized, well, this stuff wasn't actually available when I first started learning how to knit. So it's incredible to see these newer knitters just like take off, because the industry has changed so much to make space for newer knitters and give them the opportunities that maybe those of us who have been knitting for a lot longer didn't have, because those patterns weren't available, or those instructions weren't available, or some of this stuff just didn't even exist. So it's really, really interesting to see the knitting industry kind of through their lens and see like what they're experiencing and what they're taking away from the industry and everything. It's really, really interesting. So those are 2 podcasts I absolutely recommend. They're both amazing, amazing women, and very, very interesting lives that they've both led. And yeah, so make sure that you check those 2 out. I'll have them linked in the description box as well. But yeah, they're really, really fascinating. They're great to watch. And that wraps up episode 14. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad that you checked this out. If you are a new viewer, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you get notified when I upload the next podcast or the next vlog. And if you haven't yet, join in on all of the Summerween make-along fun, either in the Ravelry group or over on Instagram when you use the hashtag. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!